this the kind of the personalization of the military. This is what happens in dictatorships and in monarchies, actually. Though, I mean, it's probably not serious. It's kind of trivial in a way, but it is a sign of the way Trump thinks about the military as his, not as the country's.
And on the Michael Medved Show, it is always an honor and a pleasure to welcome my old friend, but not old in the normal sense of the word, my longtime friend, Bill Kristol, who is an editor at large and the Morning Shots co-author with The Bulwark. And he has also the Defending Democracy Together .org is a way to reach him. His latest commentary, A Nothing Burger with Ketchup and Diet Coke. I'm just guessing, Bill, would that be a reference to the epic address by President Trump last night?
It is, Michael, and it's good to be with you again. And I like the changing old to long time. I've got to remember that in the future when people say such an old friend of mine. I like long time is a nice way of gliding over that sort of, right.
Yeah, which also happens to be true.
Yeah.
But speaking about true, your general response to the great address last night that upended everybody's TV schedule.
Yeah, I guess I did expect him. They don't do that often. Presidents going on from the White House in prime time. And I figured he probably had something he was going to announce. It might be kind of fake or it might be foolish, but something to kind of change the narrative, which hasn't been going well for him in the last month or two or three. And instead, it was just a reiteration of his, what he thinks and why people should be giving him more credit. So I actually thought it was pretty much of a bust.
Okay, but aside from that, the big announcement was paying checks that are supposedly already in the mail to everyone. That's 1.4 million people who are in uniform right now on active duty in the military. They're all getting checks, apparently, of $1,776 to honor 1776. Do you think that our founders would have felt this was a great way to commemorate the 250th anniversary?
I mean, I think they would point out that this is money that was appropriated by Congress to help with housing allowances for the military. So it's coming out of one pocket and into another, so to speak. No, this is exactly what they feared, as you know, Michael. I mean, the kind of the personalization of the military. This is what happens in dictatorships and in monarchies, actually, what they were rebelling against, right? Washington, in particular, who, of course, had been general of the army, went out of his way as president to sort of make clear that this was this was a very different position. He was a civilian. The military is different you can't just buy off soldiers and make them personally loyal to you. So, I mean, it's probably not serious. It's kind of trivial in a way, but it is a sign of the way Trump thinks about the military as his, not as the country's.
And where is this money coming from? I have not done
So
the
apparently it's
mathematics, but
apparently there's the couple of $1 billion was set aside in the reconciliation bill to improve housing allowances for the military. And they're just taking that money and turning it into these checks. So it's really money they were going to get one way or the other anyway.
okay, let me ask you about something else, which is also another fiscal question, which is that there are all these tremendous plaques in the White House and what President Trump calls the Walk of Fame, where every prior president and him are commemorated. And the text of the plaques is just astonishing. It's incredibly partisan and incredibly nasty. Who's paying for that?
I guess we are. I think the White House altogether is, paid for by taxpayers. It's not like the Republican National Committee pays for those plaques. It is unbelievably petty. I do wonder, don't you think I think the pettiness is hurting him at this point a little bit. People, he was good at convincing people sort of that, he was looking out for them. And of course they knew he was a rich guy and kind of a megalomaniac in a certain way and sort of narcissistic. But there was a way in which people did talk themselves into believing that he was fighting for them against some other shadowy elites. And I just think the focus on himself at this point, I think even some of his supporters are thinking, geez, what the hell is this about,
Yeah, the idea is that the great ballroom, which is now being tied up and being challenged, the big beautiful ballroom, President Trump says that's going to be paid for by private money, but there's no indication that the White House plaques that say, for instance, they have a plaque for Joe Biden that just shows the this auto pen,
Right.
and it says right at the very top that Joe Biden was known as Sleepy Joe, he was known as Crooked Joe, and he's the worst president we've ever had. I mean, the idea that this is being paid for by taxpayers is shouldn't that produce a little bit of concern?
It should, and also there are people are going on White House tours, as you know. That's what one of the things you can do in the White House, and it's a public space, and people are. This is what they're seeing. I mean, this is not the hall of the Republican National Committee or of the Trump or Mar-a-Lago. This is the White House.
And again, there hasn't been yet a unified reaction to this, but it seems to me that what you said about being hurt by the pettiness is problematic. Final point, and it's breaking news. The CNN is reporting that the Board of Trustees of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts voted just moments ago to rename their facility after both the former President John F. Kennedy, a great hero to many Americans, but it's named after President Donald Trump first. The Kennedy Center Board of Trustees voted unanimously to name the institution the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. So said an official spokesman. It was a unanimous vote. What do you make of this?
I like, you and I have over the years we're old enough to remember the Cold War. We fought against communist tyranny and all of the Soviet Union and all of its features. The unanimous vote is a real tip-off, right? And this board, of course, was appointed by Trump. And guess what? They unanimously want to rename something out of Trump. It is literally like the Soviet Union in that part, right? I mean, one forgets, right? Stalingrad and Leningrad, right? They really did name these huge cities after their leaders. This is only, I take it, I will grant, this is only a performing arts center, though a good one, important one. But yeah, the kind of narcissism is so. Again, I think it's so out of control in a way. Is that what people really want? I don't know.
Yeah, and again, can even the MAGA loyalists justify it? Speaking with Bill Kristol, his most recent column posted at our website at MichaelMedved.com, and the the real question about the speech last night, and I think that Bill Kristol would agree with this proposition. The real question is, can we get those 18 minutes back, which many Americans, although who knows how many, actually chose to devote to hearing this Christmas, pre-Christmas greetings from the president. Bill Kristol, best to you and your family for this holiday season and for a wonderful new year.